All right, I'm gonna bring on Mr. Pop Smoke. What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
I got you. I can hear you.
All right. So here's a disclaimer. I don't really know you.
That's not a
So,
disclaimer.
no, it's a disclaimer from you to me. So
Oh,
I'm not sure if you're a competition cook or if you're a caterer or if you're a manufacturer.
none of the
So
above. I'm a
none of the above.
backyard barbecue aficionado.
Nice, nice. That's the best kind, I think.
Yeah, I just like to feed people.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of what a lot of us like to do. We just like to watch people eat our food and smile, right?
That's right.
That's
What are you
right.
cooking up tonight?
Oh, I did meals today, so did like 6 briskets and some ribs and put together some meals and people bought them.
Nice. So what? I know you said you're in Orange County. What city are you in?
I'm in Cyprus.
Oh, okay. I got family out there in Fullerton.
Oh, Fullerton. Okay. Where you at?
I'm out in Beaumont, about
Beaumont.
30 minutes west of Palm Springs.
Okay. We did we went out for a practice competition out there a few years back. Out in Beaumont. So you're a little bit out there.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice though.
These days, probably not a bad drive these days, but wait till everybody comes back to work.
Oh, yeah, that 91 will be packed. But you could probably sail to Orange County right now in about 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So give us a little background. What do you do for work?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher. Okay.
Yep. I teach
All right.
criminal justice.
Okay. Oh, you're that kind of teacher. Yeah. I work with special needs
nice.
kids, so I'm in education. I'm not a teacher, but so all right. So let's talk about your barbecue adventures. Where did it start? How long ago? What pushed it? Like,
Well, what pushed it was I like to eat. And, you just get tired of going to these restaurants or whatever, and they don't make, you're paying top dollar for just some line cooked stuff. And, I just thought you could make a better product at home.
okay.
But I've been barbecuing for a long time. My first barbecue it was actually one of those little it folded flat. The grates were inside of it, and it unfolded. And, just barbecue some burgers on there, burnt a lot of food, overcooked a lot of things, making sure it was done before I learned about proper cooking temperatures and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember, when I was young, just starting to barbecue, that was a big thing. Like, nobody wanted to get sick, so everybody was making sure you burnt their food,
Yeah, if it was burned, it was done,
Yeah, yeah. So from there, I'm not sure what you're working with now, but kind of share the progression of different barbecues you've either bought or up to what you have now.
I had a charbroil, just a regular grill, charcoal grill, and then I tried out some smoking on this stuff they sell at Home Depot, like the Brinks or whatever. I was not wasn't very successful with that. This is all before YouTube and the internet and everything. I'm 42 years old, so I didn't have really any resources or no one really teaching me. But when the internet broke, I started just educating myself and learning how to do things. And now I'm using I have a Traeger Timberline 1300, a Traeger Ranger, and a Weber kettle grill, and a flat griddle. You know, and
Okay.
I'll
I didn't
fire.
get the second one. What did you say the second one was? A Ranger?
Uh, yeah, the Traeger Ranger. It's a little tailgater.
Oh, the
You know,
Trigger Ranger.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a little tailgater. It's nice to just fire it up when you're doing a small meal or something. You don't have to fire up the big Traeger. Um,
Right.
but yeah, you know, I'll get 2 or 3 of those things going. Like tonight, I did some steak and lobster. I had the Weber going and the Traeger Ranger going, some shrimp skewers, and just you know, cooked
Nice.
everything all at one time right there. So yeah, it's
Nice.
good times.
So, from from that outlook, you know, have you done any little competitions or anything like that, or?
You know, I haven't, and I heard you and uh, Dustin talking last night. I'm thinking about getting in on that uh, beers and barbecue in Anaheim in July.
Oh, yeah, the steak
steak
one.
beers, the steak one.
Yeah.
So I have no competition experience, but just to go out there and enjoy myself, meet some people, and you know, for me, that, you know, I'm not really competitive, but it's nice to get out there and meet people and just cook some food, see where you stand amongst the people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, the great thing about that competition is you can go out there with a Weber grill, you know, a Weber kettle grill, some charcoal, and, you know, compete, you know, and stand a chance. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to go out there with a $5,000 rig to actually go compete and stand a chance. So that's one thing that's pretty cool about the SCA state competitions. You know, $150 buys your meat. You know, it's from there. I mean, my first experience doing it, the cook time is very small. You know, your cook time is maybe 4 or 5 minutes long, and it's once you know 4 or 5 minutes, it's fast. You know, and
Right.
so you know, I would just suggest, you know, get on YouTube, watch these guys that do it, watch their little techniques, things like that, and then go out and just start cooking the ribeyes, start trimming them, start cooking them the way you see these guys doing it. And so, where else do you see yourself going in the future with this, if anywhere? I mean, I know a lot of
Yeah.
people are
You
just
know, I'd like to do really just do some competitions, not to win them, but just to get my name out there. I would really love to have a barbecue truck or you know, something like that. Maybe do some catering or something. But really, I just like to feed people and have them enjoy my food. And I feel like when you're charging people for your product, if you have a restaurant or whatever, then there's an expectation there. But if I'm giving it to you for free and you don't like it, then whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah, that was a big thing when I started getting more serious and was on the verge of starting to sell some of my food. A big thing with me was consistency. You know, I wanted my food to be very consistent, um, and that's one of the reasons why when I cater, for the most part, I just do it on pellet cookers because it keeps your food very consistent. You could play with flavors and the rubs and the sauces, but as far as your smoke, you know, you use that cherry pellet, it's going to taste like that every time, you know, and uh, I I seem to get a lot of people that actually they like that, you know, people
Yeah.
that wouldn't normally like smoked food really enjoy eating my barbecue, you know. So and mainly it's wives, you know, wives of people that, you know, they don't like smoke on their food, you know,
Right.
and a lot of husbands say, you know, my wife loves your food, I love your food, you know, she doesn't really like smoked food. So
Well, I can
I
see
think
that,
pellet,
brother. I can see that because I've never tasted your food, but I've seen your pictures and it looks really good. So I
Thank
could
you.
understand that. Yeah.
Thank you. So one thing I kind of messed up last night interview is I asked Dustin what his favorite thing to cook is, but I didn't elaborate. So I'll go ahead and ask you, what is your favorite thing to cook for yourself? And then I want you to elaborate on, if you don't mind, elaborate on how you prepare that and go about cooking it.
Sure. My favorite thing to cook, I think, is a brisket. Um, and mainly because I've been very successful with them. I've read a lot of horror stories on blogs and on YouTube and Facebook posts that people are very timid when it comes to a brisket. My first brisket I did was for Christmas last year. Came out phenomenal. Then I did another one a few months later, and then I did another one for Easter, and I just did another one. So I got about four or five briskets under my belt now, and they all come out. The last one is the best one. The next one's going to be the best one, and how I do it is I use a pellet smoker and I cook it. I'll throw it on there, maybe 9 o'clock at night, and I'll let it run at 190 all night. In the morning, about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, it'll be sitting maybe 145, 150. I'll jack up the temp to about 250 and let it. It goes right. There's no stall. It goes from whatever it's sitting at 140, 145, right through to 160. Right. So, in my opinion, I hear all these guys talking about the stall, breaking the stall, getting through the stall. The way I'm doing it, there's no stall, right? It might be stalling at night when I'm sleeping, who knows? But when I get up in the morning and I put it on and I jack the temperature up, it goes right through that stall. At 160, I'll wrap it in some pink butcher paper. If I like the color, if the color and the bark look really good, 160. If it's not quite where I'm at, I'll let it go 165, 170, and then I'll wrap it. And then I do probe tender all the time. I don't even know what it finishes at. I just wait till that probe can go slide right in there, like a fork in Jello. And
Okay.
when it's probe tender, I pull it, and then I don't even take it out of the paper. I wrap it in towels. I throw it in a like one of those cold bags from Costco or whatever. I throw it in a cold bag, and then I got an Arctic cooler from Home Depot. It's $10, the styrofoam cooler. I throw it in there and I let it rest for up to 4 to 5 hours. Take it out of there. It's still smoking hot. It's about 165, which is great serving temperature, as you know.
Right.
And dude, I take those everywhere I go. When I'm going somewhere and we're having a little party or something, I take a brisket, and it's phenomenal. So that's how I do it. It seems a little detailed, but it's not really. It's
Well, yeah, brisket's one of those things that the people that cook it and have their own recipe or their own technique. For us, it doesn't seem detailed, but when you try to explain it to somebody, they're like, looking at you kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm sure the people who are joining in are listening to me going, "What is he talking about?" But yeah, it's really once you get it down, once you do your first one, then your second one, your third one, and you get it down, and you start fine tuning things, just like anything else. You start fine tuning it. You figure out what works. You know what? I could have did it a little bit different this way. At first I was going into the thickest part of the meat to check the temp, and I'm like, well, that doesn't even make any sense. I should be going into the thinner part because that's going to get overcooked, right? So you just adjust, and one thing I've learned throughout the years is it doesn't have to be perfect. We're all trying to, make good food, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be really good no matter what. It's because you know what you're doing. It's going to come out. It's going to come out good. It might not be exactly how you want it, but other people are not going to know. They're not going to know that you think, oh, it should have been. Maybe I should have pulled it a couple minutes early or something, or leave it in there a couple minutes early. But next time you go out and do it, that's what you do, right? Try it again.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, it's going to be better than that barbecue, hole in the wall place that is selling you a day old brisket. I I've come a long way in cooking brisket and what I try to achieve when I cook it, you know. So it's always, you know, what's good for me isn't necessarily good for you, and vice versa, you
Right.
know. Brisket's kind of one of those things where, depending on where you want to take it, is kind of the method you go by when you cook it. So if you want to take it to Texas style, well then the method is a little different than if you were trying to do like Kansas City style brisket.
Right.
So it's it's cool to see the different regions and how they treat the meat a little differently, you know.
Right.
Um, and you know, we all know that Texans believe their brisket is the best, and you know, and there's that whole argument. But I always think, hey, the best brisket is the one you're cooking at home for yourself and for your family, and they're gonna eat that night for dinner, you know.
Right.
Uh,
Yep. I agree. You know, and then you learn, and then you make another one and make another one. You know, but yeah.
yeah. So, future, looking at future cookers, anything out there you just, you know, would think it's killer to have, or that you definitely are going to be purchasing in the future? Um,
You
anything
know,
like that you got your eyes on?
sure. You know, not really. I said I used to have a little Traeger when they first came out, and I cooked on that for about 4 or 5 years, and I saw this 1300, the Timberline that came out, and then that was it. You know, that's what I wanted. Um, I know there's people have a lot of negative comments about Traeger, but I really think it's a lot of user error. Um, you know, I've never had any problems, you know, with them unless it was my fault, you know, something I did or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
so the 1300 was that was my on my wish list, and I got it for Christmas last year. So yeah, I heard you guys talking about those smokers yesterday. I forget the name of them. The
Gravity fed?
Yeah, the gravity fed smoking pits or something like that, or pittons,
Oh, the pits and spits?
pits and spits. Yeah, and I was just gonna look those up and see what those were all about. But you know,
They're
I'm kind of like a. Go ahead.
no, they're you know, they're pellet smokers, but you know, they're made in the USA as far as the all the materials go. They're made in
Right.
Texas. The controller is specifically tuned and designed for that cooker. Um, they're just a really robust cooker, you know.
Right. And
Um,
you know, I was looking at Yoder smokers for that very reason. They're made in the U.S. and you know, I'm prior military Marine, so um, wanted to buy something like that. I know Traegers, you know, they outsource to overseas and stuff like that, but um, I couldn't get a response back from Yoder. I
oh,
emailed them and emailed them, and somebody said, "Oh, they're you know 6 to 8 weeks out," and I couldn't. I was like, I'm trying to give you money to buy this thing, and it was almost like they weren't interested in it. And then I had the Traeger for about 4 months, and I get a random email, "Hey, are you still in the market?" I'm like, "I already bought a Traeger, dude. Sorry." But yeah, I was looking at
right.
that big one they got, the YS, what is it, 650 or something like that, or um,
You kind of breaking up a little bit.
yeah, I was looking at the big one they have, the I don't know what it was called, the YS 600 or something,
Oh, the 640,
640,
the
something, the biggest one
1500,
they have with the
the,
competition cart. I mean, they look really cool,
the
and
1500.
yeah, whatever the biggest one is they make,
Okay,
you know,
probably the 1500.
to me, I'm like, go big or go home. You know, if you got something better than the one I got, then I got to get it. You know, and that's what I was like with Traeger. And you know, I love the thing, and I'm all about pellet smokers. I know there's a lot of, and you know, I tried the stick burning, but I didn't know what I was doing with the. You know, I had that charbroil with the offset, um, you know, burner in there, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. I was just flying
Yeah,
by the seat of my pants, So I was like, this is like difficult. I don't know what I'm doing. And like you said last night, you had temperatures all over the place, and I didn't even own a thermometer back then. I was just doing
Right.
everything off of sight and sound. And
Right.
so when the Traeger came out, I was like, this takes all the guesswork out of it. You know, and why not? If it's I can sit here and drink beer, and I can run everything off my phone, and I still have the Weber charcoal grill, and I still do all that kind of stuff too. I'm not
Right.
forgetting where I came from, but it makes it a lot easier. Like the pellet smokers, well, no matter what brand you're buying, it makes it a lot easier.
Right. Yeah, when I first got a pellet smoker, I looked into the Traegers, and um, I ended up going with a Rectech 680. Basically, the whole design was the same as a Traeger, but it was just made with better, thicker materials inside. Um, so that was my first pellet smoker, and it really changed, allowed me to focus on the seasoning and the prep and the trimming and all that stuff, and not have to worry about fire management.
Right, for sure.
And to me, that was kind of a big deal at the time. Um, so I had a few of those. I kept trying to figure out ways to get more and more space, and you know, um, 3, 4 years later, I have some pretty big footprint pellet smokers, and again, they allow me to cook for hundreds of people and not have to worry about fire.
Right.
That means I can spend more time making sides. I can spend more time with the technique on how I'm cooking. And, for me, I'm a big guy. I'm not the most agile guy. So for a guy like myself, that's great. Like, I could cook for hundreds of people, and not really have the issue with maintaining a fire all night and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah, no, I totally hear you. I'll
that's
put
one.
that I'll put that brisket on at 9 o'clock at night, and I'll go to bed.
Yeah.
I got my phone right there. It's got the Wi-Fi on it, and if the pellets, if it overheats, it'll send me an alarm and wake me up. I'll go out there and check it out. But usually I go to bed, and then I wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, go check on it. It's been cooking all night while I was sleeping. Then, yeah, you're absolutely right. It frees you up. You don't have to babysit it. There's nothing wrong with stick burners for sure. And that's
No.
that's a
No.
great skill. And those guys that
It
are
is.
doing it and have mastered it, God bless them. But for us lame
Yeah.
folk, the pellet burners
Yeah.
is the way to go.
Right. So you don't really have your eyes on if someone said right now, "Hey, I'll go out and buy you any cooker you want." What are you going for?
I've been watching a lot of YouTuber or Instagrammers or whatever, cookers. They've been using those cotton gin smokers. Cotton gin, it's a barrel smoker.
Oh, right.
Um,
Right.
and I've never done that before, so maybe one of those. Never used a barrel smoker
Right.
before, and I was looking at those Komodo Joes and the green egg. I don't know what if they're any good or not. I haven't done much research on them, but I'm kind of a rugged guy, so I like the look of the barrel. It looks like somebody put it together in their garage, and
Yeah.
which that's probably how they started, anyways.
Yeah.
Looks
Right.
looks pretty hardcore. So probably one of those, barrel smoker or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Barrel cooker.
Spaceman Barbecue. I entered that contest, so if you know somebody, hook a brother up.
Yeah. The barrel cookers, drum cookers, I think they call them. I almost had one. I had ordered a Hunsaker It was a big one. It was well, not a 55. It was like an 85 gallon. It was a big one, and I ordered it, and it takes him a little while to put out product, and I just kind of lost interest while waiting. And one of my buddies, he took it off my hands, and then so I don't know. I'm a type of person that if I'm not really interested in it and I order something, if I don't have it within a few weeks, I kind of lose interest in it, and I just
Yeah,
move on to something else.
that's how I was with Yoder Smoker. I was trying to get them to a salesman to contact me. It was kind of weird. I don't know if it's because it was last November, December, around Christmas time, and they were about a month and a half out of actually getting you a smoker. So maybe they were like, no sense in contacting these people because we can't deliver the product right now. I don't know, but yeah, I lost
Right.
interest, and then there's a local Ace Hardware, down the street from my house. They had the Traeger in stock right there, and I was like, yeah, I already have one. I know it's a good product, so why not? It all made
Right.
sense.
Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that kind of a scenario with Yoder. Um, but that's I have a Yoder flat top, 24 by 48 flat top. I think they put out very good products. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
and in the pellet world, here's something that is interesting because with technology and how the technology has been changing and improving so much with pellet smokers, a lot of these older pellet manufacturers, Traeger, Yoder, these guys that have been making them for a while, they kind of just sat in one place for a long time, and they didn't really improve their controllers. They didn't really try to, you know, be innovative within the pellet market. And um, I noticed when RecTech came out with their like Wi-Fi controller, and a lot of these other pellet manufacturers, smaller ones, cheaper ones like Pit Boss and things like that, when they started really coming into market, it kind of changed how aggressively all the pellet manufacturers started upgrading their equipment. Yoder just had a big, maybe less than a year ago, had a big upgrade to their controller. Traeger upgraded their controller not too long after some of the other manufacturers got their Wi-Fi act together. And you're just seeing it. Like even these Pit Boss $300, $400 smokers now have these Wi-Fi capabilities,
Yeah.
And I think as consumers, I think we benefit from that because, we're the ones that are purchasing these things. And, when one company does something and they see the market reacts really well to it, well, now another company is going to do that same thing, and they're going to do it for cheaper. And so, that competition, I feel like we benefit from that style of competition.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It becomes a buyer's market. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But for the longest time, even these kind of smaller fabrication companies, see a spaceman, um, like you would see like Gator Pits or even Pits and Spits when they first came out with a pellet cooker. They would just basically use a cooker they already had. They'd slap they slap a Smoke Daddy hopper assembly on it, make a heat deflector plate, and they call it a day.
Hmm.
And um, now, they're going out and they're getting controllers specifically made for their pits. And they're designing pits after the pellet hopper now. Instead of just slapping a pellet hopper on a pit they've already designed, which I think is really cool,
Yeah.
Yeah, they see there's money to be made in that market. And so, yeah, they're definitely taking advantage of it. Is it here for the long run, the long run? I think so. I think they are. But again, as technology changes, now you have a basically a controller assisted charcoal cooker out there that you know is going to take away some of the pellet business, because the number one complaint you hear from people is that the pellet smokers, don't taste enough like charcoal, or they don't taste enough smoke that people are used to.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see more of these charcoal cookers that are fan assisted and used with a controller. I think we're going to see more manufacturers come up with those.
Yeah. On the note of if people don't like, it's not enough smoke or whatever, that's why I own several different types of cookers, because let's see. Yes, absolutely. You got to be the first one out there. You got to be innovative. Who is that? Stugisman? Am I saying that right? Stugisman? Absolutely right. You got to be the first one out there, and you got to be innovative, like he's saying. Because if you're not, then you're not gonna be tried and true. You're
Right.
gonna be late. You're gonna be late to the game. But
Right.
on that note of if you don't, if it's not enough smoke, I try a bunch of different pellets, and I don't know. They say that Traeger uses oil on their pellets or whatever, to flavor them. But I just know, like, I find the pellets I like and the combinations that give me the good smoke that I'm looking for, depending on who I'm feeding. If they like a lot of smoke, I know what pellet to use to give that heavy smoke. I know what temperature to use so that it's delivering a lot of smoke. The higher you go, the faster the wood's going to burn. The higher temp, the less smoke you're going to have. It's going to burn hotter, so you're not going to have as much smoke. It's going to burn off. You do low temp, it's going to deliver a lot more smoke. I usually don't even go over, 250 is a stretch for me. Most of my cooks, I'm under 250, substantially under 250, unless I'm trying to finish it off really quick, because it's running late and, whatever, I got to feed the family. But a lot of my cooks, and my kids are like, when is it going to be done? I'm all, when it's done, it's done. That's when it's done. There's no time. Yeah, so, but I also like the charcoal, and I use the cowboy charcoal and the royal oak charcoal, and I like those flavors. So sometimes, I'll cook my steak on the Traeger. Like tonight, I cooked it on the Traeger and then on the Ranger, and then I threw it on the charcoal for a little bit to get that charcoal flavor on there with the smoke, and it's a great combination. But if you're not willing to bust out the Weber and light some charcoal up and then turn on your Traeger, I'm willing to do all that because the product that comes out is phenomenal. And when I feed people, I want them to go, wow, this is really good. Even if it's just my family, I want them to be waiting for the next meal, not dreading the next meal. So, it's just a matter of what you're willing to do, and there's no wrong or right. It's just what you're willing to get into, what you want to do, and how you want to do it. Whatever you're happy with, that's really what matters at the end of the day. And I enjoy it, and I'm sure you do as well. We get out there and we just try different things. There's no right or wrong, way to do it.
Right.
For sure.
So, any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave us with before we close out this session?
No, thanks, man, for hitting me up and getting me on your little interview schedule here. I appreciate that. It's good looking out, brother.
No problem. Yeah, Steve's from San Diego, Um,
Oh, I got you, Steve. There you go. Give me a follow, Steve, at Pop Smoke BBQ if you're not already. Thank you.
so, all right, man. Thanks for climbing on. And what I'll do is I'll get this also uploaded to YouTube. So, I have a YouTube channel, Dino Dan Smoking. Same
Oh
thing.
yeah, I
So,
watch you too on there, brother. I'm learning a lot
oh,
from you, actually.
right on, man. Right on. So, all right, bro. We have a good
All right.
rest of your evening, and thank you for your service, by the way. Um,
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
definitely thank you for your service. Have a good
All
night.
right, brother. You too.
Bye. All right. So that was the interview with Pop Smoke BBQ. He's out in Beaumont. Give him a like, follow on IG. And stay tuned because I got a list of people and I'm just trying to work my way through. I'm going to be interviewing some manufacturers here, JH Smokers up in Lake Matthews area. I'm going to be working with interviewing retail. Man, this guy's retail. This guy's a cook. I'm going to interview Eric Raleigh with the Barbecue HQ. I'm going to interview um, Eric Fuss with Fuss's Pellets. So I got a lot of interviews lined up. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. I'd like to eventually get this to where I can live stream on YouTube with my cell phone, but gotta have a lot of followers. So anyhow, this is Dino Dan. Thank you. God bless. Thanks for watching the Cud.